Okay, I'm giving a presentation of our small group of Jaakko Peltonen and me, and Jaakko unfortunately couldn't come here, so you have to, he would have been a lot better presenter than I am. But anyways, we are both architects by background, and we are hugely familiar with using every kinds of models in our work, so the model itself is not that exciting for us. So we have to kind of figure out what to do on the hackathon rather than just play with the model that we do 8 hours to 10 hours a day, every day anyways. We started to kind of research the thing, and we compared it to the ecosystem around Google Maps. As you can figure out, the maps itself is not that exciting. You can have maps in phone books and everything, but when you build services on it, then it becomes exciting. When you have a fast search or a navigation function, or say Uber built on it, then it really kind of starts to take off. And we started approaching this problem also in a similar manner. We need both. We need a platform and some applications that we build on it. And we figured that the platform would be a model viewer that is for everybody, not just for designers or real estate developers or something like that. And we need to show that what one would use, how one would use that kind of application. And this is what we figured out, what the application has to be. It has to be painless enough for everyday use. So it can't be 6 degrees of freedom model viewer or anything like that. And we figured out that augmented reality is the only way to go. So you can just kind of get information about your surroundings just by looking at it through your camera. However, we found out that the technology, at least in our 3-year-old phones, is not quite there yet. However, there's quite exciting development going on with HoloLens and Google Glass and everything. So we try to kind of prepare us for that in order to be ready when they really arrive. So we try to simulate the upcoming golden years of city model use by doing 2 tasks: create the platform and then connect it to a bunch of relevant APIs to use it in a kind of a real-world situation. And we somewhat kind of managed to solve both. Of course, there are lots of bots there. And these will be pretty complex things, at least for us as architects. So the year. We have been using Qualcomm Fuforia library. Some of you maybe know it from before, but we have tried it sometime, but it really doesn't work with kind of a city model because it requires kind of target pictures that have to be predefined, and there's a lot too much information in a Otaniemi area, for instance. So we had to kind of forget that and try something of our own. And we tried to use all the sensors that our phone has and see how far we can get with that. We had no expectation of it being perfect in any means, but we had just wanted to see how it would work. So this is what we kind of fit inside it. So we're using GPS for position. We use the gyroscope for look direction, as somebody said before. And we are using camera for the background image and the touch sensor for other interaction. And we tried to use the magnetometer for getting the true north, but that was obviously horribly that wasn't possible, at least with Samsung S4. It was just, the signal wasn't usable at all. And here are some screenshots of our early phase when the calibration was a bit off. As you can see, the camera is a bit too high, for instance. You can see the buildings are on the correct place, but they are a bit too down. But you can see the Otaniemi with the new tracks there. And this is a screenshot from kind of a running version of that I took this going on the intersection there. And what data we tried to include, of course, showing new models there is quite trivial because there was the Vare model already there. So you can even now go to the intersection and take a look at Vare through our application. And we tried to scrape data from ruokalista.net. That was too much work for the weekend. But we managed to connect to Twitter API to show, for instance, what is happening inside here. So you can kind of point your app to this building, and it will show the Twitter feed of 3D City Model Hackathon. And we managed to connect to Rate the Bus API to kind of show bus schedules when you point at a bus stop. But I think I managed to get it kind of to block me because during the unpacking phase I kind of abused it a bit too much. So now I'm using kind of a static mockup of that data. Then we also discussed about Espoo Open Data and Aalto Energy Data, but we didn't have time to kind of do all the manual work required for that. So now we have only the new building, Twitter, and Rate the Bus mockup. And these are screenshots from the development phase. You can see these are not from phone. These are from Unity, where the user is kind of facing the Vare and seeing tweets of Aalto. I picked Aalto for just to get enough tweets. And on the right hand side you can see him pointing at a kind of a bus stop object, and it gets the schedule information of the next bus leaving the stop. And this is the last kind of a prototype that we managed to get. And it's, as you can see, for instance, comparing the chimneys there, it's quite close to correct direction, but at this phase it needs quite a lot of manual adjustment when you're starting the application. For instance, you have to kind of correct for the drift in the true north direction and something like that. But once you get it done, then it kind of remembers the settings, and you can walk around and turn it around and get information about the objects there. For instance, there you can see the Twitter feed of actually this event. I just copied into the next building also. So what next? A lot of work if somebody wants to try to develop this further, but it was really nice kind of a proof of concept that this would be possible to use at least in outside spaces, and when you want to kind of get an overview of the area there. And it would be exciting to get more data here, for instance, energy data or say ruokalista menus of the restaurants just by looking at it looking at the building through the app and getting the information automatically there. But this is all that I've got now. I have to demonstrate, if you want to try the application, we have to go outside and try it up. So just come talk to me if you want to see it in action. Thank you.
So any questions? Cube here on your back.
Hey, thank you. So my question would be, when Google is already doing this kind of platform-based services with maps, even with dedicated hardware, such as like the Google's Tango, and they probably will be able to plug in data layers on top of the view of the world, so to speak, and they will come up with a generic solution.
Excuse me.
They will come up with a solution that is generic,
Yep.
meaning that you can just choose what to show and plug in the APIs that you want to plug in. As soon as the API providers start kind of filling in the spec, so to speak, so they start providing their data in some kind of standard format that can be then displayed on the map. So all this work is based on like advanced hardware and what will be like standards and already are standards not just future standards, but present standards on how to present data on top of the world. So does it make sense to kind of start hacking around those standards, or inventing new hardware, or inventing new software, and and not to use the existing kind of URLs packages and so on?
We've been playing with Google Maps quite a lot, and the problem now that why we did this is that we still don't have Google Maps for 3D city model, and we had to kind of go around that and kind of get some solution in order to try out the applications that our kind of bread there. We are not kind of 3D developers by any means, so we kind of made an ugly mock-up of things that we would want, how we would want things to work, and just try the applications that we would build on that. And because it was missing, we had to do something in that general direction now. And of course, when somebody kind of publishes a robust framework to solve this, we go there with our applications then, of course.
Any more questions?
Hi. We use the Rate-to-Bus API in AutoMaps project. So if you need like some data right now, if you're a brand, just come say hi.
Yeah, actually, I already made another kind of account there, and I also blocked that also. So I think I have to debug my code first. I might have some extra using my PHP there.
Okay, that's all.
Questions? All right, so